Good morning. American Night here. Saturday, June 6th, 2026. Well, little change of schedule this week. I'm going to be visiting my parents today on Saturday. Usually I'm over there on Sundays, but I think my mom might need me a little bit more on Saturdays. My parents, like I've said in the past videos, have been getting older, a little bit harder for them getting things done. And on Saturdays, my mom has been bringing my younger brother, Bradley, who's autistic, over to the house. So then she's trying to take care of my dad, trying to take care of my younger brother. And it's just kind of, I think she's starting to feel a little overwhelmed with it all. So I'm going to start visiting on Saturday and trying to help her as much as I can, getting everything taken care of. So anyway, so this past week, we had a big meeting on Monday at my job with the big announcement I talked about in my last video that some big changes coming down the pipe. My boss, he has been the managing director of our office for 15 years, and he has decided that he wanted to step down from that role and just be 100%, working on his personal practice, right? For the last 15 years, he's done both. He's had his personal practice as well as working as the managing director of our office, which carries a lot of responsibilities, takes him away from working on his personal practice as much. And there's trade-offs, it's, with that, there's benefits to being the managing director, some additional retirement money that he gets from the company for doing that sort of thing. But he said he just felt tired with it. He was just kind of ready to do other things, go back to focusing on his personal practice and building that business. And I think he's got about another maybe 12 to 15 years left before he retires. He's also thinking about, he'd like to build his business as big as he can, and so that when he retires, he can sell it. Because these advisors, they can sell their book of business once they retire, and that could usually be a substantial sum. So that's his intent. So we will be, the good news for me is that because I've been working for the managing director, I have been doing a lot of work with the younger advisors. I help a lot of the younger advisors with the financial plans that they present in the meetings with their clients. I do all the applications for their investment accounts, and I handle kind of everything that way for them. So I've been pretty busy with it. Sometimes it's a little bit much, especially when the advisors are good and they're having a lot of meetings. It's really been keeping me busy. So, I think that I'm going to, it'll be a little less work for me, because I'll just now be just solely focused on my boss's meetings, right? Now, we're going to try to get his calendar a little bit fuller than it's been, but at the same time, it shouldn't, I don't think it's going to be quite as hectic for me trying to balance everything. But plus, now that he's working 100 on his practice full time, my bonuses are strictly based on his personal production. So his personal production is probably going to be increasing a good bit, and that will mean bigger bonuses for me, right? So anyway, so to me, I'm looking at it, it sounds to me like less work for more, and more money. So I'll take it, right? A lot going on right now. One of the things I wanted to point out to you guys, a jobs report came out yesterday, and it was stronger than expected. They're saying that the jobs market is doing pretty well right now. Whether you believe that or not, now it's mainly certain industries that are doing that, where a lot of those gains were made. I think healthcare was a big one, and hospitality was another big one, which hospitality doesn't usually pay that much. So you know, healthcare usually does, but again, it kind of depends on the jobs, right? But so they saw some pretty strong job growth in May. It was the jobs numbers for May that came out. Now here's the rub though. Trump has really been wanting them to cut interest rates. But the problem with that is that if you cut interest rates, what that tends to do is it tends to heat up inflation. Having lower rates will speed up inflation a little bit. Well, the Federal Reserve has a mandate, a dual mandate. They have two primary responsibilities. One is try to keep inflation manageable. Typically, they have a target of 2% a year, and we've been higher than that for a while now. And the other piece is they want strong employment. They want, so that's kind of their dual mandate. Is they look at those two things. Well, employment's doing pretty well according to the numbers that we're seeing, according to the data that we're getting. But of course, we all know inflation is a problem, right? So I'm thinking that we are going to probably be seeing higher interest rates. Trump has been wanting lower rates. We may actually get higher interest rates. Now, okay, that might be good in some ways. I know most people are going to look at that as being a negative. It's negative if you're looking to go buy a house. Although with a house, it's a little bit different because typically when you have lower interest rates, the house prices are going to be higher. With higher interest rates, you may see the home prices come down a little bit. So there's kind of an equilibrium there, right? But if you were to go try to buy a car, if you have any kind of variable rate debt, credit cards, lines of credit, things like that, you're going to see more interest accruing on those loans. So if you can, either do balance transfers on your credit card where you can get like a 0% rate for maybe a year or two and try to get those balances down as quick as you can, that might be a good idea right now. So just putting that out there for anybody that listens. Anyway, my throat is bothering me this morning. I think that this whole Iran thing, just, I don't know. I don't even know what to think right now with it all. I think Trump would really like to see this resolved by November. I'm starting to wonder if that's going to happen. Iran doesn't seem to really care. They're just going to keep doing what they're doing, and they're kind of leaving Trump with very few options. It's like we either leave and Iran basically gets a victory, gets a win, and it kind of makes Trump look bad. And Trump doesn't want to look bad, right? You know how his ego is. So my thinking is, I think it's fairly likely that there's going to at some point be military activity in Iran. It's hard for me not to see that. It's like, I hate it, but I think that's getting ready to probably happen because a deal is not happening. The Iranians don't want to give Trump a victory. You have to remember the current leader of Iran, his father was killed in this war, so he's not feeling like he wants to deal with Trump. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen there. When I look at it, I just think, was this really necessary? I think that's the way most Americans look at this Iran situation. Was this really necessary? And I think most Americans say no, it wasn't. We probably shouldn't have started this to begin with. It just is what it is. At this point, we gotta just try to figure it out the best we can now. It's happened. Now what do we do, right? This just goes back to what I've said in prior posts, that personally for me, and I think most MAGA voters, most Trump voters, we were hoping we can't vote Democrat. There's a lot of reasons why Trump voters will not vote for Democrats. The Democratic Party, especially over the last almost 20 years, has really lost a big chunk of the country with a lot of their weird policies. Some of their social engineering stuff they've been doing and all that mess has turned a lot of people off. There's a lot of reasons why I could never see myself voting for a Democrat. But the Republicans are not helping themselves. The Republicans, it wouldn't be hard. It would not be that difficult for the Republicans to give us someone to vote for. It's like if the Republicans would just start focusing on the economy here at home, fixing things here at home, making a better quality of life here at home, and 10% focus outside the country and 90% focus inside the country, the Republicans would do themselves a huge favor. But they keep getting us into these military conflicts for some reason. They will not stop. They just have to, for some reason, they have to be at war at all times. I'm not really sure why, other than, I don't know if it's economically beneficial with the weapons companies or what, but for some reason they just will not leave it alone. And so I'm at the point now where I just feel like we need more political parties. We need more competition. We need more. I'm gonna have to start looking at third parties. I guess it's like, I'm just not getting what I would like to see for the United States. I'm not getting from either party. So in that situation, it's like, where do I go? It's like the Democrats are terrible, the Republicans are terrible. That's where I'm at. But I just, that's how I feel about it. I don't know. I just don't feel like any of our politicians are really listening to us. I don't feel like they really seem to care. They care when election time rolls around, but once the elections are over, they're going to do whatever the hell they want to do. And that's a problem. That's a big problem with our system right now. There needs to be more accountability than just the elections every 6 years, right? So that's a problem. Continues to be an ongoing problem. And the Republicans are losing people. I think both parties are losing people. I think Democrats are losing people too. If the Democrats could focus on things other than all the racial politics they try to push, all the gender politics they try to push, and if they would just focus again on improving the quality of life of average Americans, of everyday people in America, we'd be better off. But the Democrats are too tied into all this racial and gender politics, and I think everybody's sick of it. I've been sick of it for almost 20 years now, so or better or more. So probably longer than that, maybe closer to 30 years. But anyway, it is what it is. But the Republicans, I have voted Republican every election since 2004. 2004 was the first time I voted. Was when Bush and John Kerry were running. I voted for Bush in that election. I didn't really pay attention to politics before 9/11. And when 9/11 happened, it really kind of, woke me up to everything going on. And I started paying more attention. And that's when I liked a lot of the things that Bush did at first. I thought he handled things pretty well after 9/11. I thought he exhibited good leadership right after 9/11. Was the Iraq War probably wasn't needed. We probably did, we kind of took our eyes off of the real problem, in Al Qaeda and Islamic terrorism, to go focus on this guy who was a bad dude, Saddam Hussein. I think there was some kind of a little personal vendetta there because of, Bush's dad had been threatened by Saddam Hussein, all that stuff. But you got to think beyond yourself. You got to think beyond yourself, and you got to think about, and I think they just found a reason to go in there. They were just making up excuses to attack Iraq. So that was a mistake. And then there were other mistakes made during the Bush administration too. One of the primary ones being that they really loosened lending standards for homes. A lot of people, they really pushing home ownership, right? They really started pushing home ownership. We really want to get people in houses, which on the face of it sounds good. But when you loosen lending standards, when the government starts guaranteeing these mortgages for these subprime mortgages, it makes it where lenders go, okay, well, if the government's going to guarantee it, then sure, we'll lend the money at high interest rates, and if there's a loss, the government will cover us, right? It's a win-win. The banks, that's perfectly fine for them. And look what happened. We got the 2007-2008 economic meltdown and just complete collapse just about. The government needs to stay out of lending decisions, including with student loans, by the way. That's not really a role of government. Let the banks decide if they want to make a loan or not. They are very good about assessing their risk. Do they want to make that loan or not? And how much are they willing to put at risk of their money? So let the free market deal with lending, including student loans and all of that. I think that's important, that we just let the free market control that segment of things. Obama, the highlight for the Obama administration was they got bin Laden. They found bin Laden and he took the action to go in and get him. That was the highlight for me of the Obama administration. That was good. Every American cheered that. There were a lot of things that happened under Obama that I didn't like, that I wasn't wild about. Never was really wild about Obamacare. I understand the desire to make healthcare more accessible to people, but I think there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. And we don't want government being too, the government really should be pretty limited in its scope. And it's like we just need the government to make things. If the government can pass policies and make the economy grow and things more, a more vibrant economy and here at home, then a lot of those things will improve. I think maybe there's some incentives there that government can give employers to offer health insurance, to maybe make it more affordable for the employers to offer health insurance, that sort of thing. There's things that can be done, right? But it's just kind of a mess, the whole healthcare system here in the United States. People, oh, we want universal health care. Well, I understand the desire to have everybody covered. I just think there's a way to do it and a way not to do it. I don't necessarily think the European model is the best way to do it. I do feel like having health insurance, is a good model. It's just a matter of making that health insurance more affordable, more accessible for more people, right? Because not all jobs offer it. So there just needs to be some work done with that. But there's a lot of other things that happened during Obama's administration revolving around the racial and gender politics that really turned me off to the Democratic Party. And I just, at this point, I can't imagine ever voting Democrat. They would have to change dramatically for me to ever vote for them. So that's not likely going to happen. So at least anytime soon. The Republicans are quickly losing my support. I think for a lot of Trump voters, Trump was kind of a Hail Mary. We desperately wanted someone to come in that would really focus on improving things here at home. And we thought we were getting that with Trump. We thought we were getting someone that would really focus here at home. And it just hasn't worked out. It just has not worked out. Now, he's had a lot of resistance both terms. There's been people in government that have fought him tooth and nail. This term, it's more the judges. A lot of these federal judges are trying to basically run the country. They don't want the president to run the country, so these judges are going to run the country. Apparently, that's been happening a lot during the Trump administration, which I'm a little bit annoyed about, because some of the things they keep blocking are the things that we voted for. The American people voted for. Part of the reason we elected Trump was to start preventing a lot of these people from the third world coming in here. Federal judge just came out and blocked Trump's order about allowing asylum from some of these countries, like Afghanistan. Do we really want to have a bunch of Afghans running around the United States? Does that sound like a good idea to anybody? I mean, I'm sorry, but do we want to bring in a bunch more people from the Middle East into the United States? We've already had a little taste of what can happen in that situation. Personally, I'd say no, but this suicidal empathy that the left has, because this is only coming from the left. They have this suicidal empathy, and I think a lot of it's women too. Women, they want to take care of the little puppy they found on the side of the road or whatever, and it's like that puppy's got rabies. Do you not understand? It's just, oh boy. This suicidal empathy is going to be the end of the country, I'm afraid. But anyway, I'm going to get going.